And welcome into the Tuesday edition of the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined alongside Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and Zach Bloomquist, the best executive producer in the game. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We are chasing down 1,000 subscribers, getting closer every single day. Every little bit helps. Well, guys, it took me 6 hours to remember how much I hate football. 6 hours this year. That might be a record. Vikings, terrible start against the Bucs. Packers look like they have another franchise quarterback. We'll get to all of it. We're going over all the games, or not all the games, but we have a couple games in mind, especially Cowboys-Giants, Browns-Bengals, a lot of what we highlighted last week. We're going to start with a quick roundtable going around our teams, our favorite teams, starting with the only happy person here, executive producer Zach Bloomquist, Miami Dolphins. So, Zach, congratulations to you as the only happy person on the show.
Take the victory lap.
Ziggy, I want to see you clapping. I didn't see you clapping, Ziggy. Thank you.
Good claps, good golf clap.
I mean, yeah, we're all miserable over here, and Zach is texting during the games, just fins up, fins up. I might even have to hop on the bandwagon. Your headline, if you remember last week, we did headlines for what Monday morning's newspapers would say. I mean, Zach, you had a horrible headline, but you did nail it.
What do you mean? What do you mean it was horrible? It was perfect.
Do you remember what your headline was?
Yeah, it was like why Tua was the fifth pick and not the sixth pick.
Imagine opening your paper today and you seen the Miami Herald. Tua was the fifth pick, comma. Herbert was the sixth.
Yeah, that was perfect. That's perfect.
I like where your head was at.
I
got the idea.
That was the headline that you hopefully read in your paper today if you live down in South Beach. 36-34, Dolphins win over the Chargers. We said it would probably be the most entertaining game of the week, and it was amazing. I mean, Zach, I have to imagine, were you watching it or following it?
I was watching it. I made sure I was watching it on the ride home from Pittsburgh.
The last, actually, I made Zach was driving.
Yeah.
During the last, Zach took over the wheel the last 2 minutes of the Dolphins game, so I'd update him on the scores and everything. Yeah, he's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, they're in the red zone."
It was just an unbelievable performance. Tua can sometimes go off, and you look Sunday, 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5th most passing yards in Dolphins history. He already owns the 4th spot. Marino top 3. Let me ask you, Ziggy, right now in the NFL, is there a more feared skill position player than Tyreek Hill?
You know, what's crazy is that despite the fact that I think the answer has to be yes, the Chargers did not show Tyreek Hill a lot of respect, right? The thing that, like, he was getting single coverage pretty often, and I give a lot of credit to Mike McDaniel. Tyreek Hill, I think, has to be the most feared position player. There's no question about it. The only real competition, I think, is Travis Kelce, and he's just a different beast. You know, if those two guys were on the same team, who knows what could happen? But look, the fact is Tyreek Hill can do it all at receiver, and he's in a scheme where even though, you know, he could deal with press coverage if he had to, McDaniel consistently makes it easy on him. And when you make it easy on a guy like Tyreek Hill, you're going to see crazy results.
Yeah, Tua is one of these guys, when you keep him clean, and going into the game, Teron Armstead didn't even play. That was a big concern. 45 dropbacks. Tua was hit just twice. I don't even know if he was. Let me see. Was he hit? He had 45 dropbacks, and he had 2.
There were 0 sacks. That's all I know.
Yeah, just 2 quarterback hits during the game. So when you keep him clean and you have Waddle and Hill on the outside, we said this offense can score with anyone.
Yeah, I remember I said I like the Dolphins in this game. One of the few picks I got right over the weekend.
Yeah, I was bad too.
I think it was like 6 and 10 or something like that. But I like the Dolphins because Tua is healthy. The offense is unbelievable, near unguardable, and they want a shootout, which I kind of figured they would do.
And I'll give huge credit to Tua. The run game did him 0 favors. Like, if you look at results from 2018 to 2023, that was a 5th percentile run game. Like, it was abysmal. Mm-hmm. But despite the fact that the Chargers knew on every single play he was going to pass, and despite the fact that he's going against Brandon Staley, who's historically had a lot of success against people that want to take deep shots, did not matter one bit.
So I'm looking at this game now from an AFC perspective, and we're recording during the beginning of the Jets-Bills, so we're going to go live. Hopefully you saw the live by the time you're listening to this. But Aaron Rodgers is down right now. We're looking at the landscape of the AFC. And the Dolphins and Chargers, I think they're both very, very good teams. Will both be competing for playoff spots, maybe even for a Super Bowl opportunity later this season. But did this change your opinion of the Dolphins? Seeing them go out there and actually do it, seeing Tua look completely healthy, was this a difference maker?
Well, this is a big game because these are two teams who could possibly be fighting for a wild card spot.
And last year we said it made the difference.
Yeah, I mean, assuming the Dolphins, of course, can win the AFC East, but assuming it is the Bills and assuming it's the Chiefs, you can look back, week 15, week 16, when the Dolphins are a game ahead of the Chargers, be like, that was a huge week 1 win. Yep. But no, I've said, on previous episodes multiple times that when Tua is healthy and playing to the potential he can play to, and this Dolphins offense is firing on all cylinders, this is one of the better teams in football. Mm-hmm. I thought they'd win this game. It didn't surprise me when they did. So I mean, they're right as I expect. I think they're a very good team.
One place you could have a little concern for the Dolphins, and I'll ask you if this is going to be a bigger issue, Ziggy. The Chargers had 433 yards. They had 234 on the ground. Now, I know Austin Eckler is amazing. Justin Herbert is a great offense.
It's a good offense too, though.
But is it a little concerning for you just how successful this Chargers offense was against a defense with Vic Fangio that we hyped up all offseason?
I'm a little concerned. Here's the thing. I think the Dolphins are going to have plenty of time to figure out the scheme. We know the offense can carry them against another elite offense. But given that the Chargers have basically no downfield threat, and given the fact that, people were hoping when Joe Lombardi stepped out that the Chargers would fundamentally change their offense, and we didn't see that, you would have liked to see a little bit more offensive success. Because when you get into shootouts like this, the Dolphins were fortunate enough to win, but they played basically the same game about as well as the Chargers. You can't rely on this every single week. Now, they're not going to play a Chargers-level offense every week, but they're also not going to play a Chargers-level defense either. So they are going to need the defense to improve a little bit if they want to be that Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Because the difference between the Chargers and, say, the Bills is the Bills' defense can get you that one stop. And the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, so it's just not fair.
Right, like the taking it away from the Dolphins, I mean, they were awesome, but they were down by 4 with a minute left and had a great drive. Against a team like Buffalo, maybe not, that doesn't happen. But again, fantastic win, fantastic team, and I think it's a great start.
Yeah. You watch that offense with Waddle and Hill.
That was funny when Tyreek Hill brought up today when Jalen Ramsey in 2018 said he's only a return specialist.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And then Hill's like, I thought it was only a return specialist. Ramsey's like, I was super wrong about that.
11 catches, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I wish it was Waddle.
Third player ever with 3 200-plus receiving yard games and multiple touchdowns in their career.
I wish it was Waddle.
Didn't they both have some crazy stat for opening games, right? Tua is now ranked, I think, 3rd in opening games for most yards thrown, and then Hill's ranked 4th in opening receiving yards.
It feels like the Dolphins have an ability to flip a switch. Only a couple teams in the league can do it. Kansas City would be one, Buffalo. But when they get going on offense, you just can't stop them. It just starts rolling. And those guys, like we said, Tyreek Hill, probably the most feared player in football from the skill position standpoint. Jalen Waddle, your guy, is in there as well. So it's just going to be a matter of watching them score and hopefully staying healthy. But this Dolphins team, Zach, should have you excited. That's a great win.
Yep.
Fins up. Before we turn to the sad portion of the show, and let me just give you a quick update. In our original season predictions, I was 7-8 before the Jets game. 7-8, 7-8 for me and Jack.
Oh, 7-8? No way.
Okay.
Really?
Hey, you're a good thinker.
Oh, wow.
You're an okay thinker like me.
I thought it was 4-12.
9-6 for Ziggy, and 10-5. Somehow, some way, for executive producer Zach, he just keeps winning.
Zach was hearing some trash in the comments,
just keeps winning. Yeah, he was trash in the comments, and look at him.
He picked the Rams.
Maybe we should get you on air more often.
I was 10-5.
That's what I just counted. 10-5.
What are you guys doing on this show?
Well, I mean, what are you guys doing? You're the one out, and you're 10-5, and you picked the Giants, which was probably the worst pick of the week.
Same here. I picked the Giants.
Oh yeah.
The Rams was a great win for you. You were very hot in the early
Shout
games.
out to Tom Keenan.
So
shout out to Tom Keenan.
Let's move on from the happy portion of the show now to the sad.
Saving the rest of the show.
Portion. The rest of the show. Jack, your Steelers headline was Steelers statement.
Well, we made a
you
statement.
Were at the game.
We made a statement. The statement was this team is nowhere near as good as the 49ers.
Being at the game, just walk me through when you first got in to when you left. What were the expectations for the Steelers season as you entered Acrisure, and as you left Heinz,
So
formerly known as Heinz.
I got a couple of funny stories. So, Saturday night in Pittsburgh, we were in the casino.
Vibes are great.
And vibes are high. I'm winning. I won a couple blackjack hands and took everything I won and put it on the Steelers to win the Super Bowl.
Of course you did.
And the next day after the game, our buddy Ryan, who's at the game with us, he's like, Jack, man, that Super Bowl bet. I'm like, yeah, I should have bet it now. The odds are probably better. But no, it was so... We got to Pittsburgh, and there we saw a million 49er fans.
It looked like a San Francisco takeover.
So many Niner fans, and I'm like, shoot.
Notre Dame, Georgia.
Yeah, and then we entered the stadium, and keep in mind, every hotel in the area was totally sold out, and it had to have been
San
Francisco fans. We walk into the stadium, and pregame is hype. There's a flyover. It's probably there's more Steeler fans than pregame. And they're loud, like towels are flying. They're announcing the starting defense. TJ Watt getting all hyped up, and then once opening kickoff took place, it was the worst. I've probably been to 100 Steeler games in my life. This was the worst one because there was never any moment where the fans were excited at all because it was 17-0 in the first quarter.
I was watching on TV and we were like, wow, I feel so bad for the guys.
Like, yeah, we never even made it interesting at all. I mean, you couldn't stop the Niners on offense. Everybody was wide open. McCaffrey sliced us. It was terrible. I was shocked.
We'll get to San Francisco in a moment. We'll go over to Ziggy for some 49ers stuff. But I just want to give some context. When you were talking about the hotels, Jack and Zach were going to the game, kind of a late notice trip out to Pittsburgh, and they were up all night, Friday night, right?
Yeah, Friday night up until
trying to find a hotel,
1 in the
and they were
morning.
saying, you were basically saying you'd never seen it that booked up before.
Yeah, all the hotels we usually stay at were totally sold out. Every hotel within like 15 miles of the city was sold out.
So I guess it had to be the 49ers fans. That's wild.
And then I get a text from it was either my dad or my brother, one of those two. On TV, you could see the whole lower level of Pittsburgh Heinz Field looked like it was red.
Red
it was
stands
red.
out too. When it's in a crowd, it makes it look sometimes a lot worse than it actually is. But it sounded loud for San Francisco on TV.
I was telling Zach too. I'm like, I've never seen our stadium taken over.
You have a great home field.
We're the ones taking over their stadiums, not yeah. So I was shocked.
Wow, when the 49ers are good. Before San Francisco, let me just ask you, Kenny Pickett had 2 interceptions. He didn't look anything like the guy we saw in preseason. He was inaccurate, getting sacked 5 times. Were you watching that game saying like, maybe this isn't exactly what I
I was upset. I was surprised.
Flush it?
Yeah, the only saving grace to me is that it was week 1. Mike Tomlin was a good coach. I like to assume as the season goes on, we'll improve. San Fran's probably the best defense in football. Good. Yeah, so I'm trying to just have a short memory about that. It's not like we got waxed by the Carolina Panthers. It's probably the best team in football.
Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or something like that.
Look, I think losing 30-7 is worse than losing by 3 to anybody.
Yeah. No, it was not encouraging. Ziggy, let's go over to you now for some 49ers stuff. When you look at the 49ers, maybe we really disrespect. Well, let me see. Did you pick the Steelers as well? Zach was the only one. He lone wolfed the 49ers. When we looked at San Francisco throughout the offseason, the questions around Brock Purdy were, of course, the big question. But maybe we just forgot we all knew how great this team is, but maybe we just didn't realize this unit around Brock Purdy.
Purdy's also amazing.
Oh,
Purdy's also amazing. by the way.
Purdy's really good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
But on top of that, the team around him is just, Ayuk was sensational. McCaffrey was good. Kittle, like the whole team, defense stout everywhere.
Debo was great.
Debo was good. Are they, in your opinion, after watching that, are they your favorite for the NFC over Philadelphia? Because Philly kind of struggled in New England. Did you think that this was a statement game for San Francisco instead of the Steelers?
One thing about this 49ers offense is when Brock Purdy's behind center, they seem to always outperform the advanced statistics. They did it again this week. But look, if you're looking, it's hard to figure out what the best part was. Right? Was the best part the fact that Brock Purdy looked incredible, right? He did absolutely everything that was asked of him. Was it Christian McCaffrey putting up almost 200 all-purpose yards? Was it Brandon Ayuk showing up and looking like the wide receiver 1? Was it the fact that they made Kenny Pickett look like a fool? Was it the fact that like the Steelers put up what, like 40 rushing yards?
And we didn't get our first down until 2 minutes left in the second quarter.
Steelers had 41 rushing yards.
Yeah, like the Steelers had one successful drive in the entire game. And this is a team going in with a lot of hype, right? Kenny Pickett looked good in the preseason. The rushing attack looked okay. You know, there were some worries, but I don't think anybody expected this. There's only so much you can read into one game, right? But for the 49ers to walk into Heinz Stadium and baby brother the Steelers that hard.
Yeah, it was.
Heinz Field, excuse me.
I was stunned. I've, again, having been to over 100 games in Pittsburgh, I've never seen anything like that.
Brandon Ayuk, 8 catches, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh, he was wide open every time. I could see it playing out. I'm like, oh, he was wide open.
I think, Ziggy, you mentioned...
Except for the one throw where he wasn't wide open and Patrick Peterson just got owned.
Yeah. You mentioned how many different factors of the game were successful for San Francisco. The only negative was they had a bunch of penalties. Other than that, it kind of looked like men versus boys. That's what it looked like.
Oh, yeah, it was domination.
And Brock Purdy, we got to remember, that's where I think it's the biggest win for them is that Brock Purdy came out, looked like the Brock Purdy from last year, looked just as good, honestly, as last year. They're 9-0 now when he plays start to finish. I mean, he has just been great since they're unbeatable when he's playing quarterback and he can finish the game. I'm not counting the Eagles game when he left. It's San Francisco.
You know, I was watching that game and live in person, and I was saying to myself and Zach and our buddies Ryan and Ken the whole time, they look like they can't be beat.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they can't be stopped, and their defense is also amazing.
The Raiders played them the best last year with Jared Stidham last year.
Right, in Vegas, yeah.
That was it. Other than that, they are waxing people, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. So
that's my lone saving.
And we like the Steelers. I don't think they're a bad team. They just
I don't either.
got manhandled.
Yeah, they got manhandled.
All right, let's go on. We'll keep this one quicker because it doesn't deserve much attention. Ziggy, our Minnesota Vikings, we're up 10-3, had the ball in our hands, and next thing you know, it's 10-10 at halftime. We're tied with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 turnovers. The offensive line is bad as ever. Ed Ingram, I don't like the one part of sports media that I dislike is when you harp on people because at the end of the day, they're people. It's their job. You know, I don't want someone criticizing my job on air publicly, but my gosh, Ed Ingram at right guard has to go. I hope he can find a job somewhere else in the NFL, but it is just holy shit. It is bad with the Vikings offensive line, and we never address it. 88 pressures last season. Led the league. 23.3% pressure rate for Kirk Cousins. First drive, he drops back twice and gets annihilated 2 times in the first drive of the game of the season.
Ziggy said he had a bad feeling.
Ziggy's feelings are good. I don't understand. And Ingram, not even that. He knocked the ball out of Cousins' hands. Did you see that? The first fumble of the game on the 26-yard line. Ed Ingram knocked it out of Kirk's hand on his handoff. Like, it was one of those games where the Vikings should have been up by 20 points at halftime, but with that first fumble, the second fumble led to a Tampa field goal, and then the interception right before half. That's how you lose games against teams you should beat. And it was just every season I sit there and I watch the Vikings. And it's the same thing over and over. Fix the O-line. Dalton Reisner sitting on his ass somewhere, waiting, begging to come to Minnesota, and we just won't do it. So Ziggy, help me, walk me off the edge of the cliff here, because I tweeted out season over week 1 after the game ended. Am I wrong here, or is this Vikings team doomed?
I mean, I've been low on the Vikings all offseason. I've consistently said I don't think this team's going to be great. A lot of the success last year was luck. Indeed, their points differential so far this season is exactly the same as what they finished with last season. To give you an idea of like what that 13-4 looked like. I mean, a lot of things went wrong, right? It's highly unusual that Baker Mayfield is playing the safe game and Kirk Cousins is the one who keeps giving up the ball, right? We had 2 fumbles. We had an interception that offset that like 350 yards. The Buccaneers just didn't make big mistakes. So like, I don't think that this is a huge indictment in the sense of I think the team's marginally better than they played. But if you're a Vikings fan, like, what is there to look forward to this year? I don't really know.
You have to find a way to. It was the turnovers because they outgained them 370 to 240.
If it makes you feel any better, the Bucks were my NFC South champion pick.
Yeah, I know, and people got on you for that too.
Yeah, they did.
Sorry, Ziggy, you were saying?
I was just going to say, like, it was the turnovers to some extent, but it's not. I mean, the defense was fine. The offense was dysfunctional in other ways. But, like, there's a reason this team were 4-point favorites at home against a team of, like, the third lowest projected win total in the league. The Vikings are just not good, and they showed it again.
I'll say this, too, before we move on from the Vikings. I'm holding out. Look, they're going to get mauled in Philadelphia. We all know that. That's going to be whatever the spread is.
They're only
It's
plus
7.5.
It's 7.
Yeah.
I gotta hold on hope. I can't give up on early September. But it's just I'm looking at the schedule this season. They got to go into Philly, and it would be such a Vikings thing to go in and beat the Eagles now, and just be like, what the hell is going on with this team? The Brian Flores defense is the last thing I want to touch on. First half looked great in Baker's face the entire game, a lot of pressure, and then all of a sudden that final drive of the first half when they had the offsides on 3rd and 7, Bucks get 3rd and 2, pick it up, score a touchdown, tie the game. Tampa Bay opened the second half with a 15-play, 9-minute drive for a touchdown, one where the Vikings jumped off sides on a field goal attempt. It was just the defense crumbled in the second half, and even though the statistics aren't crazy, it was a really disappointing second half performance from that unit. People are saying, I see a lot of media saying the Vikings defense looked better. It looked better at the beginning, but then you kind of lost that midway through. It's not good when the Bucks had 3 drives or something in the second half. So there's a reason why, because they had the ball on long drives. Not good. I mean, Justin Jefferson looked like his dog got hit by a car after the game. You see that, him sitting on the sideline, just upset. That's how we all felt in Minnesota.
So what you're saying, it's improbable that the Vikings won 11 one-score games last year?
It was...
Who denied that?
Thank you, Ziggy. It was amazing last season. And it kind of had that feel throughout that we're watching the same team and hopefully they could get it done. But you're right. It goes to show you when you can't have those miracle wins over and over and over.
I also just wanted to use the word improbable
I
because
was going to say,
Ziggy hit me with that before this.
You used it quite well.
The best part about this game came at the half when I forget who it was, Matt Ryan and some other commentator.
Oh, you saw that?
And yeah, and he's like, Matt, this has a feel like Minnesota should be up like 28-3.
What a jerk.
Yet they're not. And Matt Ryan's like, oh yeah, well.
He carried it on. He handled it really well.
He did. He handled it really well. I mean, that had to have been on purpose, right? Like for sure.
There's no way that you pulled 28-3 out of thin air.
You could have said 30-3 or 20-0.
Well, I appreciate you guys listening to my Viking rant, and for any Viking fan listeners right now, we gotta stay strong for just a little bit.
It's week one.
It's week one. A lot of things change. Lions fans are all up in the comments making fun of us. You know what? You win for round one. You win round one.
You know what I was saying walking out of Pittsburgh? I said the only direction you can go from rock bottom is up.
Exactly.
You can't go lower.
It's a great point.
So
it's a great point. It's
only you guys aren't at rock bottom yet.
I don't know.
Oh, that game was rock bottom.
It's two different rock bottoms.
What if you go 0-2?
It's 2 different rock bottoms.
Okay.
All right.
Let's headline.
0-2.
We're gonna just go through 3 more games, the big games that we highlighted in our preview show. They turned out to be the big games of the weekend. We'll start with mine. My headline. Not to give myself flowers or anything, but it was the boys are back. Dallas steamrolls. I said it would be kind of close, but Dallas steamrolls 40-0 in New York. There was a stat that came out today. No team has ever in a season. Did you guys see this?
Yeah. That's
lost
nuts.
40-0 or worse. Lost the sack battle 7-0 or worse. Lost the turnover battle 3-0 or worse. These are in a singular game. Had a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. Threw a pick 6. Those events over the course of a season has never happened to a team. The Giants did it all in week 1.
And it was such a promising first drive, too. Marched right down the field, got the ball to the 15-yard line, and it kind of had to feel once that kick was blocked and returned by the former Finn, I forget his name.
Noah Igbenogany.
Once returned for
Auburn guy? Auburn
the former Dolphin.
The corner?
No, yeah.
Was he Auburn?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was Auburn, yeah.
Finally got rid of that trash.
The depth of knowledge on this show cannot be understated.
Like the Giants, the first drive dominated, but it's 7-0 Dallas.
Overstated. Overstated.
And it all goes downhill.
Yeah, it was an 11-play, 48-yard drive that ate up 7 minutes, and it ends. And you wonder, do you guys ever think that things like that should completely change the game? Like if the Giants kick that and go up 3-0?
Yeah, I think they do, of course.
Because some people are like,
7-0
still got dominated the whole game.
They did, but I think I think there's a momentum shift. I'm a big believer in that.
I don't know if Ziggy agrees. I think he thinks
What?
the Giants
Like
just suck.
if it's 7 on the Giants, I
we
think
can
it's
take a
different.
victory lap because Giants fans were all up on us the entire offseason when we said this isn't a good team. We all said that.
I don't think they're a good team either.
They're a fine team, but they're not good, and this just showed they can't compete with the big boys. Ziggy, I'm sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, look, I get that there were some improbable things that broke the Cowboys' way early, but the Giants, they were terrible, right? Their offense was second percentile. Like, this is one of the worst offensive performances we've seen in the past 5 years. Their passing game was unbelievably poor. Daniel Jones's contract looked like an albatross. And I get that the Cowboys are a good team. And like, you know, once you're down like 20-0 early on, you start to lose some hope. But boy, 40-0 is a heck of a score. And it just reminds me, the last time the Cowboys went to a Super Bowl, week 1, season opener, they beat the Giants 35-0.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, Zach, will you throw yourself on for a second? Ziggy, you had Zach cracking up that entire time. Was it because of improbable?
Yeah, it was exactly because of improbable.
You had Zach cracking up that entire time. But you're totally right. It's the Cowboys dominated basically every facet of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they lived in the backfield.
Oh,
Jones
defensive line was phenomenal.
Jones on his ass the entire game.
What the Cowboys do really, really well on defense is they get their hands on the ball. They had 7 sacks, 11 hits, I believe 8 pass breakups. Stephon Gilmore, what an introduction! Three of those 8 pass breakups from him, an interception. They've led the NFL in turnovers 2 years in a row now. 33 last year, 34 takeaways the year before. This Dallas team, they find ways to make plays beyond their offense. They can score in a variety of ways. I mean, Micah Parsons is all over the place. It was just an absolutely dominant display from them. The offense looked okay. The offense did a good job.
The offense was good.
But every time you looked up, it was Daniel Jones on the ground. It was just an amazing performance there. Let's talk Giants real quick, and that's, as I mentioned, Giants fans have been kind of chirping us because we're not.
Can I just say one thing for Giants fans? Yeah. Your roster really upgraded. It really upgraded.
Oh, come.
Ziggy, what's wrong with that?
Look,
They were on us all offseason.
look, I get it, right? And it's embarrassing that no one was able to get more than 3 receptions. The Daniel Jones stuff was tough. Saquon couldn't get anything done. But I'll at least say this. The game was bad. And, you know, if you play this game 10 times, it's not like the Giants are winning a lot of them. But 40-0, this Giants team is better than that.
Yes, that's
and they are facing a team that could easily be the best team in the NFC. So
Probable.
Yeah, I know. And you have to remember the Vikings last year, I thought were a good team in the NFC. Absolutely waxed. There's 3 really good teams in the NFC. It's the Cowboys. I still believe in the Eagles for sure. And the 49ers. I'm not putting too much stock into this for the Giants moving forward. It's a bad loss. Everything that could go wrong basically went wrong. But I kind of have to give Zach a little credit on that point. We heard a lot about how much better the receiving unit was supposed to be for the Giants. Daniel Jones had 5 completions in the first half, none of them to wide receivers. There's only so far Paris Campbell and Jalen Hyatt can take you. Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins. It's not a receiving core that can win big games. Darren Waller had the most yards. He had 36. Like, I just still don't see enough from a playmaking standpoint.
I was happy that this game actually happened the way it happened because it kind of took away from the beat down the Steelers got.
And our pathetic loss.
Like nobody talked about my pathetic loss because the Giants lost 40-0 on Sunday Night Football.
And to the Cowboys.
And right, yeah. So the whole was talking about that. But I also, when I watched this, the parts I did watch, you also go back to question like Daniel Jones. Like last year, did he overachieve? Like, is he that good? I don't think he is.
He's fine.
Like,
yeah, he had 2 interceptions. He looks fine as a quarterback to me, but not a guy who's worth $40 million.
Like, yeah, I don't think the Giants will have any chance of making it past like the divisional round with Daniel Jones a quarterback. Like that's their absolute ceiling.
If I read you guys though post game, I said Cowboys 18 first downs, Giants 14. Total yards was 265 to 171. Total plays 55 for Dallas, 65 for New York. If I read you these stats, you'd say, well, it's like 20 to
Yes,
10.
it's
maybe.
like 24-13, something like
a
that.
close
Yeah.
game. That's where it goes to show the turnovers, the blocked field goal, all those extracurricular things that happened outside of the offense. That's why we're looking at a monumental win here for Dallas.
And not to knock Jones too hard. Like Dallas was in his face every play.
Yeah. You have to be fair to DJ that. Yeah, like Kirk Cousins, I give him a pass when he has guys breathing down his neck in a second.
Like he calls
Daniel
a snap, and then here comes 4 guys.
Yeah, so hopefully for the Giants fans as the season goes on, that offensive line has to be a little bit better. And look, the conditions were wet. Dallas was playing in the same environment though. But yeah, not a good start for the Giants.
We'll give Jones
a little. We'll give him a little pass.
I'll
here.
give him a little pass. Yeah.
Let's see what happens because I like Daniel Jones. He seems like a good dude, but not a good start. All right, we got 2 more games here. Ziggy, you want to take a little Bengals-Browns victory tour here? You deserve that victory lap, much like our guy.
Golf clap.
What's the
clap.
What's the cyclist that we're all rooting for?
Welta.
Sepp Kuss.
That's Welta's the name of the thing.
tournament.
Yeah, no, Sepp Kuss is in great position to win. If he wins, we're gonna have to do a cycling pod. But
We'll do an instant reaction, obviously.
yeah, here was the headline I ran with: Bengals buried. You guys said the Bengals aren't losing.
That's perfect.
And if the Bengals lose, they're surely not going to lose by a lot. Instead, we saw maybe the worst game of Joe Burrow's career.
He sucks.
Now, I get that
Fantasy quarterback.
He sucks.
yeah, no, his contract is basically a worse version of Daniel Jones's. That's a joke, by the way. Bengals fans don't come in here getting mad. I mean, they had 6 first downs this game. They converted 6. Right? The weather was bad. The Browns defense is good. Joe Burrow switched to putting on a glove, but oh boy. The Browns offense wasn't great, but it was functional, right? Watson was able to do some good scrambling. He made passes when he needed to. Nick Chubb was good. I mean, T. Higgins he had 0 receptions for 0 yards. Like, it was a meltdown on the Bengals offense. And I think, I understand that it was a bad game for the Bengals, but my biggest takeaway from this game is the Browns defense is going to be legit. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't know if you saw, there was this clip that was viral of Myles Garrett just practicing basketball moves, doing like little crossovers right before a play. Then the ball was snapped and he just walked through the offensive lineman.
He's incredible.
And you can triple team Myles Garrett. That might stop him. But then there's Zadarius Smith who can win a one-on-one matchup. Right? The Browns defense looked great. Their defensive line looked like one of the scariest in the league. And, if they can take advantage of a vulnerable offensive line for the Bengals, that's something. Last thing I'll say about the Browns, they have the Bengals number. It's official.
Yeah.
They've had 1 winning season in the past 5 years. They've finished 3rd or 4th in the division each one of those years. And yet they are 9-2 against the Bengals over that time span.
Crazy.
Like, for some reason, no matter how bad the Browns are, the Bengals just can't seem to beat them. Same old Bengals.
And Burrow is 1-5 against the Browns himself. So it's even a lot of success of that has come against arguably a top 3 quarterback. Most people would say top 3 quarterback in football.
The Bengals, great one for the Browns. The Bengals will be just fine. Last year
We all agree on that first, right?
Yeah, last year it was the same deal. They got waxed in Cleveland, and they finished 13-3.
Yeah, they were right up to
Something
12
like that.
4.
12-4. Yeah, but no, I was looking at this game. I'm like, shoot, like we're out here getting waxed. Cleveland looks pretty good.
Ravens won.
Yeah, Ravens won.
Not good.
No, not good. But no, for this to hold Cincy, Burrow and Chase, these guys to 3 points. Joe Burrow 3 fantasy points. That's an awesome start for Cleveland.
Oh, that's what I was thinking when I was checking fantasy updates throughout the day. Joe Burrow, Chase, Higgins,
locked up.
None of them were moving. Their points were the same for the whole game, and I was like, "What the hell's?" I had my attention kind of on different games. It's like, "What the hell's going on here?" 2 for 15 on 3rd down. The Bengals. First half, 7 possessions, 7 punts. 5 of them were 3 and outs. You're completely right, Ziggy. A dominant performance, and I wonder how much of it was inspired by Jamar Chase. Did you see before the game earlier this week?
Killed
when
them
he
elves.
said, yeah, what did he say here? He said,
we're going to be some elves.
It don't feel no different. It's just the hooping and hollering about the Cleveland Browns. I was about to call them the elves. After the game, he says, it's frustrating because I called they ass elves, and we just lost to some elves, so I'm pissed on my part.
I mean, he did a perfect job of kind of admitting he was wrong, but still installed
Still
it.
making
Like
fun of
still
him.
made fun of him. Yeah. So that was a perfect response by Chase.
Hey, we're gonna have to pay attention to Cleveland this year. You're right though, Ziggy. Deshaun Watson I didn't watch that game and say, okay, he's back. And by no means, but I was feeling the energy. The Cleveland was rocking. The stadium sounded electric. Watson was good with his legs. Nick Chubb, we know how good he is too. There could be something there. We'll see, because they are the Browns. They are one of our dark cloud franchises.
Yeah,
But as far as week one goes, my goodness, I mean, what a start. I'll ask you the final thing on the Browns, Ziggy. After week one in your AFC rankings, are they top 5?
I had them winning the AFC North for a reason, right? I think this is one of the toughest divisions, maybe the toughest division in football.
All right, so yes, top 5, man. We'll see how high they are on.
I would advise the gamblers now to hit the Steelers, better odds, win the AFC North.
Super Bowl. You mean Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
look, Deshaun Watson's gonna have to play better. There's no question about it. But this defense will give him enough time to figure it out and get in the groove. And I mean, you look at their schedule, right? They've got Steelers, Titans, Ravens, 49ers, Colts.
We're gonna maul them.
If they can, yeah, like they'll get their opportunities, and if they can win those games, put together this kind of defensive performance, and at least have Scrambling Watson out there making some plays, yeah, they got a chance.
Ziggy, do you think week 2 Monday Night Football, the Steelers beat the Browns in Pittsburgh?
That's a big game for you now.
I think we're gonna
That's
win.
a really big
I think
game.
we're gonna kill him. I think we're gonna kill him.
The Browns are 2-point road favorites.
I think we're gonna kill
That
him.
feels pretty conservative to me.
So you would take the
All
Browns
right.
minus 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Sound like a fool.
Well, we'll have the preview show. We'll have the preview show for that. And gosh, I'm just thinking about Thursday night when we go live. And the Eagles won 65-7. A late touchdown from Nick Mullins to put the Vikings on the
To
board.
cover live plus 64.5.
The reason that I'm talking about this Viking sadness is because as I was traveling into New York yesterday, I'm looking at my phone getting updates on the games, and all I see from Chicago is the Packers slowly starting to kick the crap out of the Chicago Bears. And I'm watching this going, there's just no way in hell that these guys did it again. Because all over the internet, all over Twitter, it's, man, Jordan Love looks amazing. Did you see that throw? I got text that said, Dynasty, dynasty, dynasty from a Packers fan. And I just wanted to throw my phone off the George Washington Bridge. 38-20. The Packers go and whoop the Bears. Over the past 10 years, Chicago is 3-18 against the Packers. This felt like the chance for them, where you finally have them in Soldier Field. No more Favre, no more Rodgers. Let's beat the crap out of Jordan Love and make a statement, and you just get demolished. So I'm watching this. Jack, have you seen some of this game? I know you're traveling.
Not a lot, but I do.
You like Jordan Love?
I like the Bears. I mean, yeah.
Are you buying it now?
No, I'm not going to buy it. I don't think the Bears are that good. I did pick the Bears to win this game, but I have said there's going to be that chip on his shoulder. You have Favre, you have Rodgers, and now.
I mean, he even looked a little like Rodgers on some of the throws. Ziggy, you picked the Packers. Did you expect this dominant of a performance though?
When you talk about dark cloud franchises, this is sort of becoming our show's trendy tagline. The Bears are certainly one of them. But like,
Fields
look,
also stinks. I think Fields he's
He
done.
had a tough day.
yeah, this is the thing, right? People seem to think the Bears were going to improve a lot this year. And I understand why, but you sit back and look at what happened. And it's, they made some minor acquisitions on defense, right? I'm not saying like TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, they made plays this game,
Big
but like those aren't,
But that,
they're not like getting Nick Bosa or something. On offense, you got DJ Moore, but you still need Justin Fields to take a big step as a passer. And otherwise, like your biggest addition was probably Roschon Johnson. Like there were reasons to be optimistic about the Bears, but Justin Fields needed to take a big step forward as a passer, bigger, I think, than people realized. You were seeing a lot of like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen kind of comparisons, but he hadn't shown that. And then Jordan Love was just a wild card. I'll admit, I got nervous when we saw Christian Watson was going to be out. I was starting to regret that pick a little bit.
That's another.
Yeah, totally.
Boy, it did not matter, right? And Aaron Jones, we took a big pass to the house. It doesn't matter, right? Luke Musgrave and Romeo Dobbs were enough to get it done. with a rushing game that only contributed about 100 yards, right? It's not as though Jordan Love was getting bailed out. With that offensive line, he can produce. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous about what the Packers can do this year.
They scored 40 points with their best receiver.
He went out there with Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Samori Torre.
And Luke Musgrave.
And Luke Musgrave, a rookie. So those three receivers, one of them being a rookie. Well, another one being second year, all really young. Luke Musgrave, the tight end. Aaron Jones is phenomenal. Zach, you said that at the top of the show. He's so good. He's a great fantasy steal. If you're happen to doing a draft post week 1 for some reason, Aaron Jones is an amazing fantasy player year after year.
Our friend Mike Pellegrini, he was out this weekend. He was out, I think, Sunday afternoon at like 3 or 4, having some drinks. He was playing some online casino, and he said he got up like $60 playing blackjack, and it goes right into your sportsbook account after you win in the casino.
Oh my!
So he texted me. He's like, "Yo, Jack, what's a football lock you can give me?"
Oh no!
And I was like, Mike,
oh no!
Take everything you just won in the casino and put on the Bears money line. And then he goes, I don't want to just make one bet, like any parlays. I'm like, yeah, probably the Bears at the Seahawks.
And the Giants if you're really feeling good.
And I'm like, yeah, take Bears Seahawks plus 170. He goes, bet. And they both got mopped at home.
Last thing on the Packers. Actually, I do want to say, Justin Fields, you mentioned Ziggy, he needs to improve as a passer. Like, he still looks great on the ground. His escapability, everything is amazing, but the passing was not there. So we need to see more from Justin Fields, or this is going to be a very long season for the Bears.
My guy DJ Moore is also put on lock.
Yeah,
by Jair.
So last thing on Green Bay though. So Jordan Love, 15 for 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, 123.2 passer rating. I'm not ready to anoint him the next great Packers quarterback. Part of that is this Chicago team I don't think is that good. It was a lot of Chicago really just blowing up in the second half. It was 10-6 at halftime. Second half, you saw a fumble deep in their own territory, big punt return for Green Bay. There was a pick 6 from Quay Walker in there. It wasn't like Jordan Love came out and dominated. He just looked really comfortable and really sharp. So I'm not there where I'm like, oh my God, this guy is like gonna be a top 5 quarterback in the league. But you have to say post week 1 that the Green Bay Packers are 100% a contender in the NFC North, which is something I really did not want to say. But Jordan Love looked comfortable. He looked good. Not ready to get to great, but he looked really good.
I mean, this was his best start imaginable.
Yeah,
this is the best that he could.
It can't get better for the Packers.
No.
Beat the crap out of the Bears, put them back in their place.
And Jordan Love,
and
looks
Love
good.
looks good. And not only Love looks good, really the whole team looks good without Christian Watson.
On the road against anybody in the division, week 1
Chicago's
is not going to be easy.
Place to play.
Yeah.
Except for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, look, like, there aren't a lot of really strong rivalries in the NFL. But if the Packers sweep the Bears this year, even if they otherwise don't have a great season, Packers fans are going to be happy. Right? It's sort of like how if you're a Tennessee fan, if you beat Florida, Bama, like the rest of the year kind of doesn't matter. If they beat the Bears twice, the year could be a lot worse.
It would be humiliating for Chicago, but the Packers, rightfully so, I hate to say it, but they should have their eyes on something bigger than just sweeping Chicago now, which I did not expect and really was really hoping wouldn't be the case. But here we are. Here we are. All right, boys, that's a week 1 reaction show. We're one in, 18 to go in the regular season here. So
16.
16, 17.
16.
16, Paul.
16.
17
Paul, how many teams are there?
17.
Guys, no, there's 17 to go.
No, there's
18 weeks.
Oh, there's 7.
Well, I guess you can count the bye.
Flips the script.
You
There's
count the
18 weeks. There's 17 weeks to go. Farrington.
Oh, there's
flipping
18 weeks.
the script.
Well,
17
he's
games.
counting the bye.
What do you mean? There's bye for
What do
everyone.
you, yeah.
Wait, there's a week 18?
Yeah, of course there's a week 18.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. We've been talking about it all
I thought it was
offseason.
week 17. Oh, week 17 was about the last week.
No, your mind's been stuck in a couple of years ago, Jack. The
Still
Steelers,
stuck in Pittsburgh.
remember we were saying the
It is.
Steelers would be 10-7? Yeah, all right. Yeah, there's
Well, that's
18 weeks.
Oh, what's the... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Plus the... Right. Okay.
So, 17 weeks to go here. We will be
And the
back.
fact that me, Ziggy, and Zach were all like, wait a minute. No. Like,
Well, no, it's weird. I'm still getting used to it too, as well. It's
In reality, there's only 16 games left.
16 games left per team, but there's 17. All right, we don't need to get into this. Well,
people know.
We'll have some live reactions to games this week, hopefully, and the week 2 prediction show coming up. And look, if week 1 told us anything, it's that the word of Zach Bloomquist might be the best word in football that you could hear right now. Great record to start the season for Zach. We'll see you next time. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Take Zach's bets. We'll see you next.